When a franchise reaches the point where it must decide whether to absorb nearly $100 million in dead cap space in a single season, it is no longer debating a tweak. It is confronting identity. That is exactly where the Miami Dolphins find themselves with Tua Tagovailoa. On the surface, the numbers are jarring. A $99.2 million cap hit if Miami releases Tagovailoa outright for 2026. A slightly softer alternative if designated post-June funds, $55.4 million in 2026 and $43.8 million in 2027. Neither path is painless, neither feels comfortable, but only one offers clarity. And clarity is what rebuilding teams need more than comfort. Let's start with the obvious. Tagovailoa's 2025 season did not justify continuation. The raw totals, 2,660 yards, 20 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, a 37.5 QBR, reflect inconsistency. The turnovers are especially alarming. 15 interceptions in 14 appearances signal not just volatility, but regression in decision-making. For a quarterback once viewed as rhythm-based and accurate, that level of inefficiency is difficult to rationalize. Then came the organizational shift. The departure of head coach Mike McDaniel, now serving as offensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Chargers, wasn't merely a coaching change. It was philosophical. Miami didn't just adjust, they pivoted. When a team moves on from both its offensive architect and its starting quarterback in the same cycle, it is not trying to patch a ceiling. It is rebuilding the foundation. So the real question is not whether 2026 will be competitive. The real question is whether Miami wants to rebuild cleanly or rebuild slowly. Absorbing the full $99.2 million cap hit in one season would effectively concede 2026 from a roster building standpoint. With the NFL salary cap projected between $301.2 million and $305.7 million, that dead money would consume roughly one-third of available space. That severely limits free agency. It reduces flexibility. It forces the front office into austerity. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Austerity may be strategically beneficial. Rebuilds fail when organizations attempt to remain semi-competitive while shedding core pieces. That middle ground produces 7 and 8 win seasons, not catastrophic enough to secure elite draft positioning, yet not strong enough to contend. It is the most dangerous place in the league. Purgatory. If Miami splits the cap hit over 2 seasons, they extend that purgatory. Yes, spreading the burden softens the immediate blow. Yes, it allows marginal additions in 2026, but it guarantees meaningful dead money in 2027, the very year they might want full financial flexibility to support a new franchise quarterback. Dead money is not just a financial figure, it is opportunity cost. Now consider timing. The 2026 draft class is widely viewed as lacking a slam dunk quarterback prospect beyond Heisman winner Fernando Mendoza. If Miami sits at number 11 again, competitive but uninspiring, they may feel pressure to reach. That is how franchises compound mistakes. But the 2027 quarterback landscape projects differently. Talents like Dante Moore and Arch Manning are expected to headline that class. Whether projections hold is secondary. The point is optionality. If the Dolphins absorb the entire $99.2 million hit in 2026, they likely struggle. If they struggle, they draft high. If they draft high in a stronger quarterback class, they reset properly, with a rookie contract, a clean cap sheet, and synchronized roster construction. That alignment is the hidden advantage of taking the medicine all at once. Some will argue that intentionally handicapping a season risks damaging culture. That is fair. No team publicly embraces losing. But there is a difference between tanking and strategic contraction. Strategic contraction acknowledges reality. Miami's roster is not one player away. The defense has holes, the offensive line remains inconsistent, veteran contracts linger, the quarterback position is unsettled. Even if they spread Tagovailoa's cap hit, the Dolphins are unlikely to vault into contention immediately. Spending moderately in 2026 would not transform them into a playoff threat. It might, however, move them from 5 wins to 7. And 7 wins changes everything. Draft position, schedule strength, perception of progress, without meaningfully altering championship odds. Rebuilding cleanly requires courage from ownership and discipline from management. General Manager Jon-Eric Sullivan would need to resist the temptation to chase splash signings. Head coach Jeff Hafley would need to frame development as success. Young players would need to receive real snaps, not token rotations. If Miami takes the full hit, 2026 becomes an evaluation year. Perhaps they roll with a low-cost bridge quarterback. Perhaps someone like Quinn Ewers gets extended opportunity. Perhaps the offense becomes simplified, youth-driven, developmental. Wins may be scarce, but clarity would not be, and clarity accelerates timelines. Financial resets are powerful in the NFL. When a team clears dead money in one concentrated year, the following offseason becomes transformative. They can front-load contracts, they can extend emerging players, they can absorb risk, they can build around a rookie quarterback without lingering constraints. Contrast that with spreading the cap hit. In that scenario, Miami enters 2027 still carrying $43.8 million in dead money. That may not cripple them, but it limits aggression. It complicates long-term deals. It reduces flexibility at precisely the moment they might need to build aggressively around a young passer. Rebuilds work best when financial reset and quarterback acquisition align. The Dolphins have an opportunity to align both in 2027, but only if they endure 2026 decisively. There is also psychological benefit to ripping the bandage off. Fans understand rebuilds when they are honest. What frustrates fan bases is illusion, spending just enough to suggest competitiveness while quietly lacking a path to real contention. Absorbing $99.2 million signals transparency. It says, this is a reset, not a retool, not a half measure, and there is competitive logic beyond draft positioning. A young roster forced into action often reveals unexpected contributors. Late-round picks become starters, undrafted players gain meaningful reps, coaching staffs learn who can anchor the next core. If Miami instead spends moderately while carrying partial dead money, those developmental snaps shrink. Veterans fill holes temporarily. The evaluation cycle slows. The harsh truth is that Tagovailoa's contract is already an anchor. Whether Miami spreads it or concentrates it, the money exists. They cannot escape it. The only decision left is whether to drag the weight behind them for 2 years or drop it in one. Championship windows are built around synchronization. Rookie quarterback contract, peak defensive core, cap flexibility, coaching stability. Right now, Miami has none of those aligned. Taking the full $99.2 million hit in 2026 would hurt. It would likely produce a losing season, it would generate criticism, but it would also create the cleanest path forward. By 2027, the books would be clear. The draft capital potentially premium, the roster younger, the cap flexible, the direction defined. In a league designed to punish hesitation, decisiveness matters. Sometimes the boldest move is not aggressive spending. Sometimes it is strategic restraint. For the Dolphins, swallowing $99.2 million in one brutal season may be the clearest way to ensure that the pain ends quickly and that the next era begins without financial shadows. Rebuilds are never painless, but the cleanest ones are the shortest.